Hi, my name is Will, and do you know why your prospects buy? Because in this video, I'm going to explain why your prospects buy products by sharing the 5-step value ladder. And if you're not on level 4 or 5 of this value ladder right this second, you're making selling incredibly difficult for yourself. So there are only 5 levels of value that you can offer a potential customer. And when you offer your customers levels 1, 2, or 3 of value, then you are instantly replaceable. They don't care about you. Your customers are going to screw you over whenever they can. Now, this flips its head slightly at levels 4 and 5 of the value ladder, which I'll show you in a second. And at this point, your prospects are going to be begging you to work with them. At level 5 of the value ladder, your customers will give you every single penny that they possibly can to keep doing business with you. They're going to beg for you to give them your product. So would you like to be in the position where you have customers begging to give you money rather than you begging them? Then stay tuned. So let's get started at here we have level 1 of the value ladder. And this is when we meet the buyer's specifications that have been laid out by them. Dead simple, right? This is where a prospect is looking for X feature, and by just chance more than anything else, you happen to implement that feature into your product. Unfortunately, there's nothing to differentiate you from the competition at this level. And so winning this type of business usually comes down to more luck and timing than anything else. Now, trying to hit a sales target when you're only providing level 1 value is like buying a lottery ticket and then standing outside the lottery company's offices with your hand out, hoping to win the jackpot. It's a very foolish strategy and it's unlikely to work. So with that said, let's move up the value ladder to level 2. And level 2 is where you provide a good product to your customer. So here we have level 2, and this is what we call a good product. You're not just meeting the specifications anymore, you're now providing a good product to the prospect. And this is the value level that everyone thinks that they're sat at right now. You probably think you're at this level as you watch this video. Everyone thinks that their products are maybe not even good. Maybe they think their products are great. And in most markets, everyone's products are pretty good. And so what you're going to find is that there's very little differentiation between you and all of the other great products that are in the market. They're all competing at this level with the buyer. And so again, winning business here usually comes down to dumb luck, people like you over a different salesperson, or the ability to follow up on a prospect until they relent and just give you the money. But this is a tough way to sell every day for years on end, for even decades on end, if sales is your true career, right? Now, the cool thing is level 3 is when things start to change. Level 3 is when we start to remove luck from our selling environment and replace it with hustle. And at a level 3 of value, we're going to provide a customized service to the prospect. So this is when we start to differentiate ourselves in the mind of the buyer, when we provide a customized service to them. This is when they start to go, oh, Salesman.org and the Selling Made Simple Academy is maybe more expensive than reading a few sales books, but the training is personalized to me, and I know it's effective because like 2,000 people have been through our training right now, and so I don't mind paying a little bit more for it. So with that said, let me ask you this. How many times have you battled with prospects on price? They're going to bring up competitors. They're going to say, I ain't signing no contracts, and they're going to force you at the last minute for a discount. Well, this price battle that you can often get sucks. I've been there and it's painful. Now, this pain starts to disappear at level 3 on the value ladder, as in the mind of the buyer at this point, if you can provide a customized service to them, then you're different, inherently different to all of the other companies who are pitching them right now. You finally have an advantage. But things really start to fall into the seller's favor when we get to level 4 in the value ladder, which is reliance. And imagine it like this. If you've got a set of scales, so far, the value that you provide has not been as valuable as the dollars that the buyer has to give you to get it. When we get to level 4, though, the value that you provide is going to be way, way, way more valuable to the buyer. They're going to happily give up their dollars to make a deal with you. So at this level number 4, we're talking about reliance. And at this point, the buyer-seller relationship changes when Potentially, the customer builds part of their business on top of your product. For example, lots of companies use Salesforce.com, HubSpot.com, whoever it is, to store their customer data when they're building their own sales and marketing systems on top of the platform. So if you are a CM organization in this situation, you're going to know that it's going to be pretty damn painful for the customer to move to someone else once they've basically got all these contracts locked in, once you've got all of that data inside your system, once they've built on top of your system even further. Contracts are typically locked in until the customer goes bust. The other side of this reliance, side number 2, is when you reach a level of reliance on the value ladder where the buyer needs your product desperately so that they can grow, and without you, the business might even fail. So an example of this might be selling financial services to a startup who needs an influx of capital, otherwise the business is just going to die. They need this influx of cash, otherwise things are going to fall apart for them, and that makes them reliant on you. And that's how we get to number 4 on the value ladder. This is when your buyer rings you to upsell themselves on your services. This is when the buyer calls you because they want to extend contracts as opposed to you chasing them to get them extended. And the buyer wants to work with you at this point as much as you want the commissions from working with them as well. Now, there's one final level to this value ladder. This is the God tier level of value in B2B sales, and this is level 5, what we call multiple reliance. And when I used to work in medical device sales, this is where I would aim to be with my medical device customers. I was selling cameras and surgical systems and imaging systems to surgeons, theatre managers, and CFOs and people like that, right? And sure, it'd be great to have 10 operating rooms, right? 10 different operating rooms in general surgery using our equipment. But then when gynecology jumps in with an additional 5 rooms and urology jumps in with 3 more operating rooms using our equipment, the prospect becomes reliant on us in multiple different areas of their business, and something magical starts to happen, right? You suddenly start finding yourself having meetings with the CFO of the hospital rather than department managers. You find yourself in the middle of conversations about expanding the hospital and increasing this across multiple different sites, right? And expanding services and provisions and even helping their hospital do things that they didn't think that they could do prior. And rather than hearing about an influx of cash and having to cold call people in the account to learn more, well, when you get to level 5 on this value ladder, you become a business person, not a pesky salesperson who's always chasing people down. Opportunities, and this is the cool thing, right? Opportunities come to you. Your prospects want to work with you. Selling at this point, having been there and done it right, selling becomes fun. So how would this change your day-to-day? How would it change the prospecting that you've got to do each morning, the calls you've got to make, the rejection that you face? It'd probably turn all of this on its head, right? Now, you're probably thinking, well, that's all well and good. Thanks for the theory here about these 5 random steps on some stupid process, but how do I get all of this magical level 5 goodness in reality? And hey, this doesn't even look like a ladder. It looks more like a series of steps, right? You might be thinking that as well. Well, let's get real here. So if you're not starting at level 2, which is having a good product, well, the answer is super simple. Change jobs. Stop making life hard for yourself. Find the best product in your industry and start selling their sales management on hiring you. So that gets you to level 2 on the value ladder, right? Now, how do we get to level 3 and offer a customized service? Because there's a big leap in inbound leads. There's a big leap in you becoming a star within your own organization. There's a big leap in effectiveness when we get to level 3 on this ladder. Well, let's use the example of me selling medical devices. Clearly, I wasn't able to customize my products, physical products, to the customer's needs. Everything that I sold had thousands and thousands of hours worth of research, development, and testing before it was allowed to be marketed, because they're medical devices, right? They are life-saving machines and equipment. So I didn't have any leverage to customize at the product level. So instead, I customized the service that I provided to my buyers. I'd explain to these buyers that the value that I personally would add to them would be in surgical education, in training, in hospital business problem solving, and more. And honestly, being super blunt, I got so many deals done on the back of me just going in as an actual consulting, being knowledgeable on these products and how they solve problems within the account. And that's all I really needed to do to differentiate myself from a lot of my competition. A lot of the competition in the space were just idiots. They were just, I consider myself as a knuckle-dragging, ape-like salesperson, right? Well, they were single-celled organisms at this point. They were just not making any effort whatsoever. All I had to do was add another layer to differentiate myself, to provide a customized service to the buyer, and a lot of my competition were just wiped out. And it's because a lot of my competition were lazy. They wanted to just get into the account, make a sale, and get out. So I took a lot of their business by making the extra effort to dive into step 3 on the value ladder. Now, levels 4 and levels 5, you do need to up your game. You don't get all the benefits of these 2 levels of the value ladder for free. You've got to work to get them. And the simplest way to put this is to get to levels 4 and 5, you must solve problems. You're not just delivering features and benefits anymore. At this point here, you've got to solve business problems for your prospect. This means that you personally must be able to make introductions, provide insights, and tie the wins. So first off, you've got to be able to make introductions within your industry to get your prospects in front of people that can help them move forward. There's real value in you being a connector in B2B sales, getting one prospect to a customer, another prospect to another prospect, the CFO of your company to the finance people in their company, whatever it is. If you can make connections, you've added a layer of value and you can solve bigger business problems than what your competitors can. Next up, you got to provide valuable industry insights that the prospect can't get anywhere else. And people get confused on this. If someone can Google the insight that you've just shared with them and get better data, a blog post, whatever it is, then there's no value in it. You need to share data that no one else has to get to level 4 and 5 on the value ladder. For example, I work with sales leaders all over the world who want to invest in their sales teams and up their sales performance by helping the teams make selling simple, right? Head over to salesman.org. Sales Made Simple Academy is up there. You can book a call if you think you're a good fit to work with us. Now, I share an incredible amount of information which we drag from our sales code assessment. Over 10,000 people have been through it now on what traits that they should look out for when these sales leaders are hiring, what traits lead to high performance in their teams. All this data is proprietary to us. Nobody else has it. We've never published it. Something we should probably do at some point, right? But when people jump on a call with me to talk about signing their teams up to our training product, I can dive through all of this information, all of these insights, and people's minds get blown. This is a layer of problem solving and insights that other people I'm competing with just don't have. Finally, you need to be able to tie your wins with theirs. Now, what the heck does that even mean? What I mean is, by tying your prospects' wins in with your wins, it means that you're going to always be looking for ways to help them improve their own customers' experiences. And if you can do this and you can improve their revenues directly over time, you're going to become indispensable to them. They're going to go out their way to give you business. They're going to give you business just to keep you on side. And finally, when you go from level 4 to level 5 on the value ladder, you need to become dispensable across multiple departments within the organization. And of course, this is all easier said than done. But once you retrain your selling brain to focus on the level of value that you can give your prospects, rather than focusing, which is what most salespeople do, on what you can drag from them with some crappy pitch or scheme or plan or just spammy cold outreach, you're going to find that more and more people are going to want to work with you, and the game instantly gets so much easier. So to wrap up this video, to have success in modern B2B sales, you've got to start on step 3 of the value ladder. Then you've got to focus on solving real business problems personally to get up to level 4, and then do this across multiple departments in the company to get to a level 5. And that's really when you're going to start to win. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed this video. Why not click the video that's on the screen right now and continue making selling simple.